Hey everybody, you're back. We're going to talk today about the different forms that we talked about and how to go from one form to the other. So just a quick little review. Remember, we've got these three forms. We have standard form, we have slope-intercept form, and we have point-slope form. So here's standard. This is slope intercept, and this is point slope. Okay, so let's say, for example, we've got this information. We have the point 1, 2, and a slope of 3. And Mrs. Salles asks you to write this in an equation. Okay, so what's the information that we have? We have a point and we have the slope. Which form do you think would be the easiest to plug this into? Because we have a point and the slope. If you said point slope form, you're right. That's going to be the easiest one for us to plug this into. So we're going to write the form down. Oops, this is the wrong thing. And then we're going to plug into it. So again, remember, this is a point, so we can call this x1, y1, because it's the point. So we're going to put each part. So this is our x1 value. We're going to plug that in right here. This is our y1 value. We'll put that here. And this is our slope value. So we're going to put that right here. So let's write it. Y minus y1 is 2 equals m is 3 times x minus x1 is 1. So this really is just y minus 2 equals 3 times x minus 1. And that's definitely an equation for the line. But usually when we think of equation in a line, I'm like, I don't really think of it in that form. I usually think of it as y equals something. So what if I said, let's change this to slope-intercept form. So remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So the thing I don't know is, I do know that slope, right, for this one because the slope is there, but I don't know the y-intercept that this one has. So here's what I need to think about. What is interesting or distinct about this form? Well, the form has a y by itself. So all I have to do to change from point slope form to slope intercept form is I need to get the y by itself. Literally, that's it. So if I take what we have, which is y minus 2 equals 3 times x minus 1, and I just got the y by itself, we're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this 3. And I get 3 times x, and 3 times 1 is just 3. We bring down that minus sign, okay? And then to get y by itself, I'm just going to add the 2 to both sides, and we have y equals 3x minus 1. Now, doesn't that look like slope-intercept form right here? Yeah, it does, okay? Because this would be the m value of slope, and this would be the b value that we just found simply by putting y by itself. Now, what if I went a step further and said, oh, you know what, Mrs. Salles changed her mind. I don't want it to be in slope-intercept form. I want this to be in standard form. So how would you change this to standard form? So keep in mind that standard form is ax plus by equals c. So let's look at this form and see how it's different. Well, I see some value of x and some value of y are on the same side of the equal sign. And there's some value for a number on the other side. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put x and y on the same side. Now, just keep in mind about standard form, there's one little thing. This a value must be positive, and it must be whole. It cannot be a fraction. So it has to be positive and whole. Okay, so let's start our work. we've got y equals 3x minus 1. Let's go ahead and get both x and y on the same side. Well, I've got this negative 3x. I'm going to move over here to make this go away. We're left with y minus 3x equals negative 1. Now, we almost look like our standard form. But remember this thing that says the a value must be positive and whole? This a value on the x is not, first of all, it's not in the front, and second of all, it's not positive or whole. So if we rearranged this, because I could say this as this, I mean, it's equivalent if I can just move them around. And then we need to work on this. We need it to be positive, and we need it to be whole. It is a whole number right now, so all we have to do is work on the positive. So in order to go from a negative to a positive, I just have to multiply it by another negative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply everything by a negative 1. So remember, we do it to one side, we do it to the other side, even Steven. Multiply, multiply, multiply. Negative times negative 3 is positive 3x. Negative times positive y is a negative y. And negative times negative 1 is a positive 1. And that is our standard form because we have ax plus, and in this case it's plus a negative y or negative 1y equals positive 1. And that's this form right here. So now you're thinking like, wait a minute, I thought we were just talking about one line. It's one line, but there are 3 forms. And the forms that we just found were 3x minus y equals 1. We found y equals 3x minus 1. And our first form in point slope form was y minus 2 equals 3 times x minus 1. So how could all 3 of those forms literally be the same line? Well, I'm going to show you that right now. So we're going to graph it on a graphing calculator, and I just want you to see that when I graph all 3 of these forms, it really is the same line. So here's what I want to show you. If I put in the first form that we came up with, which was y minus 2 equals 3 times x minus 1, parentheses, this is in red the line that we're talking about, okay? So now I'm going to write the next form and see how my calculator graphs it. The second form we found was slope-intercept form, which was y equals 3x minus 1. Do you see how literally it's the same exact line? Now look at this. This is my red equation, the top one. This is my blue equation, the bottom. Do you see how they're literally on top of each other? That's why you don't see a difference. They're the exact same equation. Okay, let's look at this one. The last one we did was our standard form equation, which was 3x minus y equals 1. And do you see how they're all literally, it looks like I'm just changing the color of the line, but what's happening is this equation here for number 3 was green, and it colored it green. So we've got our 3x minus y equals 1 is the same line. It's in standard form is the same line as y-intercept form, slope-intercept form, and point slope form. So these are all the same line in the 3 different forms.